Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, let's kick this thing off, Surfers. Good morning from paradise. Happy Wednesday, November 12th. We have a great show for you guys today. I was scouring the interweb, specifically X, this morning, and it feels like sentiment is kind of shifting a little bit more positive. I guess what I've noticed is that people maybe have accepted that we're kind of at a bottom here, kind of max pain, max fear, and that the uptrend is likely about to start. So we're going to cover Bitcoin chart, Ethereum chart, the majors, when we think alt season's going to kick off. Will there be an alt season? That's another story I keep coming across. People saying alt season's canceled. We'll talk to you guys about our take on that. And of course, a lot of Pulsechain drama to cover. Massive dump yesterday on Pulsechain, the core assets. Why did this happen? Richard Hart, what are you doing? What are you thinking? We're going to get to all that and more today. So, little gut check, let's do a little sentiment check amongst the Chads here. Are you guys feeling like, all right, reversal's bound to happen here soon because we've just been beaten and battered down for so long and therefore reversal's inevitable? Or more downside, more pain, more max fear incoming? What say you guys?
I think at first, to start the show, we need to do a moment of silence for Pulsechain. A moment of silence for PTGC. And a moment of silence for the Surf token. Oh, Messiah, Richard Hart, why do you do this to us? Is this the spicy tweet that'll be the final capitulation before massive gains? Are you in fact even alive? Is that you typing on Twitter? Please explain yourself. For I did not sleep last night staring at red candles, but at least we're bouncing. Okay, Nate, go ahead.
I missed all the Pulsechain drama until about 10 minutes ago. I was grabbing a few more stories to cover today. I was like, wait, what's all this? And yeah, so excited to hear your guys' take on that. I haven't had too much of a chance to dig into it other than he threw up the ProveX page with sacrifice information, yada, yada. So who knows, is he playing 4D chess or 3D chess, as Kamala Harris likes to brag about playing, aka normal chess? So we'll see what's...
She plays checkers, let's be honest. She doesn't even know what the king and the queen pieces are.
In terms of market sentiment, yeah, I think over the next week or so, we'll probably see a sweep of that 99K range again. Could go lower. We'll see how things shake out. I certainly don't see us rocking to new all-time highs in the short term, but it's still very bullish on the mid to long term. Obviously long term, but midterm. Speaking of next year and the midterms, have me bullish for 2026 still.
You tell me we gotta wait till November of next year to get the bull run? Don't tell me that, Nate. Don't tell me that.
No. I just mean because it's a year we have midterms. That's typically the governments in power are not going to let economies go in the tank and get trashed. They're going to be pulling out stops to pump things, to make things look better than they appear, so that they can or appear better than they are potentially, to help get those votes going in their direction.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Trump, you want to pump the economy, Fed, new Fed commissioner, whoever that's going to be, Christopher Waller in all likelihood. If you guys want to pump the economy at the end of the year, pump our bags. I got no issues. I do think we're likely to just continue to see kind of a slow grind up on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's changed forever, guys. I don't know if we're going to start, see these big crash. It's not going to be the big parabolic moves anymore and the big dumps and the multi-year crypto winters. I think it's, it's matured. We're getting, 25% corrections. but it's going to end up being kind of a slow grind up on Bitcoin. I do think, by the way, we are going to get a reversal here soon. The government's reopening. I believe the House is voting today on the bill that the Senate had passed to open the government. It's either today or tomorrow. And by the looks of it, the House will pass that. Trump will sign it. Government will reopen. Historically, that sort of does follow. Market pump follows that. I don't know how sustained the next pump will be based on simply the government reopening. But, we're only a few weeks away here from the next Fed decision, the end of QT on December 1st, and then the start of QE, I think, in 30 to 60 days after, just because the job market is in terrible shape. You got delinquencies everywhere across the auto industry, credit card debts at all-time highs, student loan delinquencies at all-time highs. The economy is in terrible shape. And that's due in large part to the Fed having squeezed and trying to beat down inflation. And now to the point where they've squeezed as much as they can, and they will cause a recession unless they start pumping money back in the economy. When that happens, risk assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. will finally run. So we're almost at the tip. That's why I'm feeling a little bit more bullish and happy today, I guess you could say, because it feels like we're at the end of the max pain. Right? It feels like we're at the end of the max pain and the max fear. And therefore, I'm feeling a little bit better, despite still feeling pretty shitty.
Yeah, not much new today from yesterday's live show. Slight green on Bitcoin and crypto assets, plus or minus 1 to 3%. But the stocks are slightly red. Again, nothing here. We're still in a bear trend here. Lower highs, higher lows. Let's see what happens. It is nice that the Senate passing the government reopening was a low. We rallied pretty big. Now we're back here. And the House is voting. Hopefully they'll vote today, because if that passes, I do believe, and we have been saying that the government reopening would be the next catalyst for a bounce and a reversal. And it seems like that could be coming sooner rather than later, which is good to see. What's crazy is, the government's still closed, but everybody has their SNAP benefits back on again. So there's that, I suppose, huh? And Ethereum, same thing, up 2%. A little bit of a rally, got rejected at the overhead breakdown level, and still lower lows, higher or lower highs as well. Bear market trend. Nothing's changed, but again, it's only been about 24 hours or so. NASDAQ slightly down 0.1%, but is picking up some ground because this was down about 100 basis points. Now it's only down 29. If the stocks can flip green and the House does indeed vote today or tomorrow, that could be the next catalyst to put risk on assets back in the light. But what isn't a catalyst is the gold is up quite a bit here from 4,000 to 4,100. Percentage-wise, not a big deal. But did bounce off this moving averages, and now it'll be interesting to see if we go to another new all-time high. I don't really think so, or if we stop somewhere up here. And this would look a lot like that market cycle chart that we talk about, where that was peak euphoria, and then this is kind of where everybody gets, confident or casual or whatever the word is up there. Can't remember right now. And then we sell off once again. We'll see what happens there on the gold chart. Again, gold wants to catch itself and rally, and Bitcoin still hasn't even caught up with gold. So I don't know what is going on here, Bitcoin. Figure it out, guys. Figure it out.
Well, a couple things. First of all, I want to say good morning to all our friends and viewers who are joining us on the live stream today. Appreciate you all. Martin, Jay, Hexbull. I'll get to your comment. We'll get to your comment on Pulsechain and Richard Hart in a bit. We have a whole segment on that ready to go. But moment of silence for Pulsechain. I know it hurts. Hans needs a fat set of hopium right now. Hey, that's why we're here, bud. We are here to give you the hopium. We're here to make you think long term. We're here to remind you that nothing goes down forever, and eventually things do bounce. And I feel like we are at the tail end of the sort of the capitulation, max fear, max pain, and inevitably a bounce happens once you sort of hit those levels. So feel shitty, feel pain, feel fear, but just know that we're going to flip bullish here very soon. And by the way, the House is voting today. By the looks of it, it will reopen today. And let's see how the market reacts to that. But gold's running. I see that. I'm happy to see that. It's only a matter of time before money flows into Bitcoin, guys. We've been on this for a while now. It's the Bitcoin OGs that have been selling billions. I shared a story. I don't know if you can pull it up. Another guy, 1.5 billion, popped up out of the woodwork. It's a miracle that we are still above 100K. Let's just be honest. The amount of billions that have been sold over the past 60 days is just insane. It's being soaked up by Wall Street. It's being soaked up by institutions and ETF buyers And I know folks will say, oh, well, the ETF buyers, they're taking a break from buying. If you actually dig into that data, it's like 97% of Bitcoin ETF buyers are holding. So don't worry about them too much. It's the great rotation. The Bitcoin OGs, they're selling to Wall Street. Be on the side of Wall Street. Be on the side of the smart money, and eventually this market will pump, and you guys will be happy that you held.
That's something we always said. We said ETF investors are built different than retail investors because they're investing in ETFs and everything in their 401k and Roth and the IRA for the long-term horizon. That doesn't mean that everybody buying spot Bitcoin or spot ETH ETFs are going to be long-term holders, but it just means that a higher percentage of them are literally just allocating based off their 2-week business, their paycheck, or based off of their portfolio structure, and those are long-term holders because they have financial advisors. And BlackRock used to say, hey, put 1 to 5% in gold, and now they're starting to say, hey, along with the gold allocation, you should probably have 1 to 5% in Bitcoin spot ETF and Ethereum spot ETF as a hedge for all your other stocks and bonds that are in your portfolio. And then that portfolio sits there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years until that person retires and or dies. I mean, that's how these people work, and that's how really your traditional market portfolio is for the most part outside your trading bag. So we said that this would be the activity of these type of participants. We are seeing it, and I think those type of activities from those long-term participants is the only reason we've even held with all these billions and billions and billions of whales selling on the open Bitcoin market.
Oh, Nate, you're muted, my friend.
Oh, I didn't know I was. My bad. I was just saying, yeah. Outside of the Bitcoin, with the long-term holders coming in for monthly, weekly, part of their retirement portfolios, their 401ks, etc. Well, what's going to pump the rest of the market? Well, stable coins. That's going to be hitting Ethereum, especially, in a lot of the other top alts. JP Morgan clients can now swap JPMD for USDC on Base. This is how you bring in 1,000 times more dollars on chain. The JP Morgan, this is an institutional play for them to be able to do transactions online. JP Morgan Payments moves trillions of dollars per day, meaning they basically move our entire market cap of crypto daily via their payments solutions. Now, are they going to bring all of that on chain day one? Of course not. They're going to pilot this. They're going to test it. They're going to ramp it up slowly over time. Is it all going to go on Base? Of course not. It's probably going to get spread around in different areas, but this is the future that we have all been talking about and waiting for coming to fruition. And yes, this is a bull story. It's major bullish. Is it going to pump the markets today? No, but this is another one of those contributing factors, another catalyst that's slowly cooking in the background that in a mere months from now is going to have real downstream effect. We're going to be seeing real transaction volume spinning up from this, and you're going to see the effects on price for top alts, for the network tokens, and the trickle-down effect into these other projects as people start to have more money in the momentum, and more importantly, the narrative of crypto starts coming back strong. That's when you get all the retail to FOMO back in. That's when you get the big bags start foaming back in, is when you see the institutional effects pushing the overall market up and getting that FOMO going amongst everybody else. So good days still ahead, just a matter of when.
Yeah, man, glad you flagged the story. Remarkable, the turnaround from JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, who just a few years ago was shitting on Bitcoin every chance he got, right? Really funding it hard. And now, from that, launching their own stablecoin, which can be swapped directly for USDC. I think massive from an adoption standpoint, and also massive from a narrative standpoint. Like if you're a normie, right, and you're pitched crypto and Ethereum for the first time, perhaps, and you understand, oh wow, the traditional financial rails are now interconnected with this industry. And every transaction that happens on a blockchain ultimately flows back and creates value for the stakers of the Ethereum for the most part. We're talking about L2, even if the value transfer isn't as high as some would like to be, but it's still there. This is a bullish narrative. It's a remarkable turnaround. Jamie Dimon, complete 180. If you're selling now, if you're giving up on this industry now, I feel like you're not paying attention, or you're just not thinking long term enough. But this is a remarkable story. Thank you for sharing that, Nate.
Yeah, if you're a trader and you're daily trading and stuff, I can understand, moving some assets around right now. But if you're an average guy, even a full-time crypto guy like me that's not a professional trader, I think the risk to reward is just so bad right now to be moving stuff around and trying to sell into stables. I don't know when this market's going to turn around. I don't know if it's going to turn around next week, next month, next year. But when it does, it's going to happen real fast. And it'd be very, very easy to be sitting there with a big old bag of nothing other than stables, while all the tokens you were planning on investing in or that you'd previously been holding and had sold into stables are doing 2x, 3x. You're going, oh, I'll just wait for the next dip, then I'll buy in. And that dip just doesn't come, or it doesn't dip hard enough, or we've all seen that happen too much. So my advice, DCA and HODL, if you're not a professional trader, I am not a professional trader. I only trade a tiny part of my bags because I know I'll lose it otherwise. So and I do this full time. Stay in your lane, know what you're good at. There are things at work behind the scenes. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be expected. But when it goes, it's going to go fast. It's going to go hard. So make sure you are not getting left behind because you thought you were going to try and get fancy and play the markets.
I guess now do we want to turn to Richard Hart's tweets and Pulsechain?
I do want to just give a shout out to Remmer real quick because it's relevant to our discussions. Yeah, I mean, think chopping for a while, weeks or months. Hates chop. I hate, but it could be good to continue the upside. Could be good for alts. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I don't know if we get a massive, jump in price here just because the government reopens, and then that becomes a sustained, run to the all-time high. I think we continue to range here. We'll probably get a nice little bump here today, but when the government finally reopens. But my theory is that we're not going to see Bitcoin and ETH really run until QT ends, Fed rate cut, and then QE really needs to start. They need to start injecting money back in the economy. Once those three things happen, I think we do start this pump. But consolidation for now. Look, it's not the end of the world. If you've been this patient for this long, just continue to hold and continue to be patient. That's all you really can do. And so that's what I'll be doing. So yeah, we can turn over to the Richard Hart FUD. What is this guy doing? Flooding his own bags? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Right when Pulsechain was starting to get some mentions and adoption from bigger named KOLs and influencers, Bitcoin guys, Solana guys, Ethereum guys, were starting to say, maybe I was wrong about Richard Hart, maybe I was wrong about Pulsechain, and Pulsechain was rallying off the lows, looking like it was forming an inverse head and shoulders. Well, then Richard Hart, the announcement of the announcement came out, and it had to do with ProveX, a privacy protocol, but that wasn't, that didn't kill the market. It actually went up a little bit, like another 5 or 6%. But what killed it is when he made this tweet. He said, this just went live, provex.info, with the address in which you can sacrifice your tokens to make a political statement. This isn't anything out of the norm. This is like a pre-sale. Now, remember, I was live in this show and on Corey's show yesterday saying, hey, I don't want there to be a token, but if there is going to be a token, you need to accept only the core tokens, because how does that work? That means, number one, people on your network can sacrifice those tokens, essentially burning them, taking them out of supply, and or you could use Tornado Cash Ethereum to then buy the core tokens up and then sacrifice those, doing a double burn, or you can not have what just happening right now, which is you say no core tokens, and literally everybody on your chain dumps those tokens because A, they think it's stupid like me and there's no flywheel effect, or B, they're dumping those tokens to get other assets that you will accept in the sacrifice, because there is people on both ends of the party. He said that everything except Pulsechain assets is acceptable. Look, Bitcoin, ETH, USDT, Solana, XRP, BNB, TRX, Doge, ADA, Hyperliquid, everything you can think of. XRP's probably even on this list. But no Pulse, PulseX, Inc., or Hex, and no eHex, which means your Hex on Ethereum is not accepted either. So, well, it dumped to like 45% last night in one big red candle. It did bounce, but it's giving up some of the bounce today as well. What are your thoughts on this? I even wrote this tweet. I'll let the viewers read this. But, I mean, I said worst case scenario, there's a token and a sacrifice, and they don't expect the blue chips. And literally 4 hours after that live show, or 5 hours after the live show I did with Corey, all three of those things happened.
I guess initially, again, maybe I don't understand this enough. It seems like maybe he's trying to use this to pull liquidity from other networks. Is that maybe why he's asking
that doesn't benefit any of the core tokens, though?
Well, so the funds that get sacrificed, isn't that's then not deployable into the ecosystem, or I guess I'm
That's
not.
going to be like the
100%.
Pulsechain sacrifice wallet where those funds will just sit there for who knows how long. Also, the raise, if you look at the timing here, this is going to go on until January 10th of 2026. So that's
Okay.
like another 3 months of sacrificing funds.
Yeah,
But I mean, that could be the argument. Hey, you're trying to take liquidity from other networks, but that liquidity
And then
isn't
deploy
going to
that
find its way to
eventually into the.
Pulsechain anytime soon.
Yeah, I guess if that's going into a sacrifice wallet that then gets deployed into Pulsechain assets, maybe that. I mean, I don't know.
But that's been the speculation on the Pulsechain sacrifice wallet with the ETH for 4 years now, and only about
Yeah.
15 million of it has made its way to Pulsechain after 4 years. There's still 700 million ETH just sitting there. So I don't think that's why the community is not liking that idea, because they believe that with the ETH funds, and some have come in like 15 million, but that hasn't done anything for price as of yet. But
yeah, Han said it best. Fuck me. Fuck me, indeed. Like,
he was
dude, Richard Hart,
he was
what are you
just
doing,
getting the
man?
narrative better.
What are you doing? Like, who in your inner circle allowed you to do this? Why did you do this? This is illogical. This is inexplicable. And maybe there's an explanation, by the way. And he hopefully he's able to clarify himself and explain something that is not I'm able to see. But on its face, like, this makes no sense. This makes just no sense at all. Why would you not accept your own ecosystem? So you should make it your own. That's all you accept. Nothing else. Then if you want people, industry, they want to get involved with this, they got to bridge over, they got to buy the thing, they got to, sacrifice through buy PLF. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense. So I don't know how this ends up happening. I don't back when we were involved with, being on leadership teams and stuff. Now we do Crypto Paradise. We're the bosses. I guess even to say, like, if I were to propose something, hey guys, let's do something for Surf, and then whatever I proposed made 0 sense and was completely asinine, would dump the price of Surf, he'd be like, yo, dude, we can't do that, and here's why. And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. I thought, yeah, bad idea. Sorry guys. Let's do what you said. How do you let this happen? Like, how does this happen? This is just mind-boggling to me. Now again, look. Does he come out with a tweet clarifying, explaining, convincing people as to why this makes sense? Maybe, yeah, maybe he does, and maybe I'm just not seeing it right now. But on its face, this is absolutely mind-boggling. And if you're disappointed, Richard Hart, I do not blame you. I'm disappointed. I'm not, not giving up on Pulsechain by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a bad decision, bad choice, and it needs a lot of explaining to do. A lot of explaining.
Yeah. And that caused a massive dump on Pulsechain blue chips and all other assets. That's also frustrating is, PTGC, really anything on Pulsechain, Peacock went down dramatically due to LP bonding. When all the blue chips sell off, all those prices get dragged down as well. That's why a lot of other people, I think why there was so much drama on the chain is like all the builders, all the teams, all the whatever are kind of along for the ride with these blue chips. And when he does stuff like that out of nowhere, it drags all those prices as well. I think Surf, for example, went down like 35% and it's bounced back, but it's still down like 10%. Pulsechain went down like 45%, it's still down 25%. PTGC went down 40%, it's still down 10%. So it's like these type of actions cause ripple effects for all the projects on chain as well. And what caused the bounce that is giving up the gains now, but what caused the bounce is a few hours later, he then wrote this. If I were streaming video right now, which I am not, and won't be till I've written some pages of text I've been putting off, maybe a day or two, what are the burning questions you have? So right after he just did that, the chain sells off, mass drama. Then he says, well, maybe I'll be doing my first video live stream or recording in years in another day or two. And that's why we saw the bounce. So, is this 5D chess? I don't know what's going on anymore. I can't even speculate anymore. But pretty wild times with Richard Hart and Pulsechain, that's for sure. And it doesn't help that Ethereum and Bitcoin and alts and everything else is also down because there is no liquidity or speculation going on because everybody's down right now.
Yeah, he needs to come live stream and say, just kidding. The thing I said about how the only things you can sacrifice are, ETH, Solana, Bitcoin, etc. No, it's actually only the core assets. Just kidding. Make you guys out. Okay, yeah, I'd accept that. But until then, I'm tired, boss, says Hans. I'm tired too. Like, come on, man. Like, this is foreseeable what occurred over the past 12 hours as a result of these announcements, price, performance-wise, sentiment-wise, all foreseeable, obvious. He even said it in the tweet. Like, I know you guys will be angry. So why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? And, okay, skeptical of 3x bonus, says Hobbs. You learned nothing from the last sacrifice. Yeah, I didn't look at the token economics. I'm actually not even for
the 3x bonus is just if you sacrifice earlier, you get a better payout, which makes a lot of sense. It's on like a bell curve to try to get you eager to invest in that, just like a pre-sale investment. But it's more the timing. We talked about this in the live show. Like, when should they launch? If it's ready, you should launch as soon as you can. And it looks like this sacrifice is going to continue all the way till January 10th, which means that the protocol won't be launched until after January 10th, most likely. So that doesn't look good. But yeah, I mean, I'll let Nate go here because he's been sitting there patient. But yeah, pretty foreseeable. Because if you go watch Corey Costa's live show I did yesterday, I think we retweeted on Crypto Paradise. I quote tweeted it on mine. Literally, I said worst case scenario is ABC. 5 hours later, Richard Hart, ABC price nuked. So if I'm seeing that as an outsider, Richard Hart knows that. He literally didn't hit one of the three things. He hit all three things I said would be worst case scenario 6 hours after I said it live on air. And what happened? Price went down 45%.
Yeah, it just makes you kind of wonder, like, when you see things like this happen, the guy's not an idiot, obviously. Just, what are you doing? I mean, some people, though, clearly are fans of it at least. You got almost 1,300 people that don't hate it at least, don't hate this deal. 1,277 total sacrificers so far to a tune of $330,000 in just the last, looks like 12 hours here, basically, or 14 hours, from 24 different networks, 406 unique tokens. So maybe everybody's just taking their tokens they think are worthless and aping them into the sacrifice wallet. Maybe they got some old dust, some old meme coins, some old dying projects they don't believe in anymore that they're aping in. Who knows? But somebody's at least somewhat bullish on this.
330K is nothing to have raised. I mean, I don't know. We're probably higher than that by now, but this is not a great outcome for this pre-sale thus far, clearly. And obviously the sentiment and the price performance of the cores speaks for itself. So hopefully, he's playing 5D chess or whatever and comes out with a bullish statement. Haha, just kidding. Cores only, faked you guys out. Or you know what, say, look, the community has spoken. Like if ProveX is so community-based, like he allowed the community to name the project. Remember it was called Mr. Prove like 3 days ago? Now it's ProveX. The community made the symbol as well, the design. Why not say the community has spoken? I was wrong. I thought this was going to be good for Pulsechain to allow only other assets, but it turns out I was incorrect and the community has spoken, and therefore we're going to switch gears and only do, or allow you to do, the cores as well. So let's see where this goes. I mean, it's just not good. It's not a good look. I blame Richard Hart, but I also blame people around him because, again, you're not making decisions in a vacuum. Usually, I mean, right? Like, usually there's a team of smart people around you, or should be anyway, to help you make these kind of decisions. People are tired. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to dispute that. So I'm a perma bull, perma optimist, and even I'm pissed off. That's not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Ethereum, is below $3,500 again either. That doesn't help anything either. No. But the only bit of hopium you have here, and I even said this in private posts last night at the lows, is this. Is this Richard Hart's 5D chess 4 or 5 years later? This is what he said. First, I shake out the weak hands with a spicy tweet. Then I post valuable stuff. No love for weak hands. And well, that was the spiciest of the spiciest tweets on a 40% straight red candle. And 2 hours later, talks about how he might be making a return to both recorded videos and live shows in just a day or two. So there's your bit of hopium for the live show. That's the only hopium I can come up with for you guys.
That would be bullish. I'd love to see that, and then you can maybe explain it. Look, so here's the argument. The only one that I can see in my mind as to why he would say only, Bitcoin, ETH, and not cores, is if he needs to sell the sacrifice funds to pay for the development or marketing or whatever to get adoption and build out ProveX. Because it wouldn't be helpful. You could say, okay, he's received the sacrifice funds in, PLS, and then he's got to turn around and sell it all. So that wouldn't be helpful. So I get that if that's the case. But how much money does it cost to build an OTC platform? You don't really spend a lot of money on marketing because he already has a big mouthpiece and a whole big community. So I can't imagine you just spend more than $5 million building this out. Would be to me, would be a big spend on it. So the whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's hope there's some silver lining. Let's hope there's some bullishness. Maybe he's playing 5e chess and pulls the rug out and then injects capital and pumps us. We'll see where this goes. We're staying positive as always here because we're crypto paradise, guys. We're a crypto paradise, and we think long term. We stay positive. You guys come here for the hopium and the positivity. We're not about to let you down now.
Well, something else that's got crypto Twitter hotly debating is the new Square in integrations with Bitcoin. Bitcoin payments are now live on Square. Anybody that Square, for those that don't know, is a payment system. A lot of stores, mom and pop type shops that don't want to go the traditional route, buy a full POS system to run payments, they can buy a simple Square box from the company Square to take credit card payments and debit card payments, etc. Which opened up commerce for online commerce, credit card payments, etc. for a ton of small businesses in the U.S. and around the world. So a big company. Works with a ton of retailers, not just in North America, but I believe in Europe and maybe even Asia too. Anyways, they are now integrated with Bitcoin, I believe through Lightning. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me there. But they launched this today, initially getting a lot of praise, but kind of people are causing people to FUD it is that Square says you're not custodying it. It's much more like a centralized exchange where if you receive Bitcoins, can be stored in your Square wallet. If you want to self-custody, you'll be able to do so. But there is a max of 15K a day or 50K per week. Now, initially, people that are saying, well, that's a lot of money. Keep in mind, these are retailers, right? For a retailer, if they're doing a lot of business, that might not be that much money each week that they need to pull out for OpEx or whatever. Regardless, the point being, people are trashing this for the fact that you are not in control of your own Bitcoin, saying it defeats the purpose of Bitcoin, so on and so forth. Obviously, a lot of typical Bitcoin maxi type stuff. To me, I'm like, well, it's no different than a centralized exchange. A centralized exchange have withdrawal limits on almost every account. It might be more than that, might be less than that, but point being, it's still not custody. It's still not self-custody, and there's still limits on it. Debate now is, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this. Overall, good for the markets, bad for the markets. Does it bring more people in? Yes, maybe it's not ideal because you're not, self-custody. It's not DeFi, but obviously pros and cons to this. Personally, I think overall win. We need products and tools like this to start getting people into the average retail into crypto. What are your guys' thoughts? I know you guys aren't Bitcoin maxi, so I expect I know what you think.
No, the people fudding this need to get the head out of their ass. Do you think average everyday retailers, like my barber, for example, who has a Square, shout out to George, my barber, great guy, owns Bitcoin, by the way, Andy. You think he wants to figure out self-custody? You think he wants to figure out how to move 50 grand or whatever into his own, or to write down a seed phrase and do this all on his own? No, look, it's perfectly secure if you're talking about a company like Square to store your assets. Just like I even have some Bitcoin on Coinbase, guys. I'm not, oh my God, I don't have all of it, but I have some, a little bit of Bitcoin on Coinbase. And oh my God, my Coinbase is going to run off with my money. Like, it's fine. So people need to understand, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, not everyone's like you, bro. Most people are scared of Bitcoin. They don't want to write down a seed phrase. They're freaked out by all that stuff. They just want to treat it like a normal bank account. And Square is perfectly safe. So I think this is bullish. This is super bullish. I'm happy about this. But I don't think you should ever spend Bitcoin on a haircut or whatever else. That's stupid. That's like, spending gold on shit. Like, you hold it because it goes up in price. Spend dollars. Use your credit card, get the points, all that good stuff. So don't spend Bitcoin. But for those that want to spend Bitcoin for whatever reason, this is positive. This is good for the industry. And anyone who hates it is an idiot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is ultimately positive, and you have optionality as a storefront where you can accept Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin, accept Bitcoin and auto sells it for USD, or you can even accept USD and it'll auto buy Bitcoin. So
That's
the
cool.
optionality is great. The wallet on there is great. It's like, okay, then just go self-custody. And $15,000 to $50,000 a day is a pretty large number. Most people that use Square are small and local businesses. It's not Target using the Square function, guys. Okay, $15,000 a day. And if they don't want that, first of all, you're not going to have all your customers giving you Bitcoin. It's going to be a very small percentage. So ultimately, this is just a branding thing. I think it's a good thing. And I actually own a pet store. My sister runs it day to day, and we have a Square system. So I messaged her yesterday to play around in the settings and figure out how to accept Bitcoin. And we can put Bitcoin accepted on the window. Do we think many people will pay with Bitcoin? Probably not. But, it's the option is there, just like when Apple Pay became a thing and nobody used Apple Pay. Eventually, now a lot of people use Apple Pay, and it's built into all the systems. So it's a baby step forward, definitely not a negative. And the whole, like, not your Bitcoin thing, like, come on, guys. That is the dumbest thing. We're in 2020. You have centralized exchanges. You have Robinhood. You have all this other shit. Cash App has Bitcoin on there. Like, do you want Bitcoin network to expand? Then you have to do it this way. You're not going to have, all right, let me do my Square optionality and then go get my self-custody wallet and then plug it into Square and then hope it works right. No, that's just not how it's going to work. And you want all your money within the Square system for tax purposes, payroll, and everything else. So that's why they have it that way. And the fact that you can pull out that much money instantly when it's called Bitcoin, that's already a really good progress for them to be having that as a launch feature in my estimation.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest win out of this, are people going to be paying? It's a great PR stunt. Are people going to be paying in Bitcoin right now? Well, maybe
Very
some
few.
stupid people, but for the most part, no. But the fact that you
Either
can
stupid
choose,
people or really rich people, Nate. That's the thing. I guess if you have
Well-
billions, then yeah.
but I think the biggest win here is what you mentioned there before. You can set it up now, and this also, the story I just pulled up here is Visa. Visa announcing they're doing the same thing basically. But you can have people pay in fiat currencies, pay in worthless US shit tickets, and on the back end automatically receive Bitcoin, or with Visa receive stable coins. I'm sure they're going to open up other coins in the future as well. So that, I think, is the biggest win here, is that you have the optionality to onboard yourself automatically, to on-ramp fiat into crypto. I'd be interested to see what kind of fees they have for that. But that is a huge win to start bringing retail people in. Not that they're going to be paying in Bitcoin, not that they're going to be paying in stable coins, but that Visa and Stable are now both letting you accept fiat and automatically receive either stable coins or Bitcoin instead of that fiat. That, to me, is the biggest angle for this story that people should be getting excited about.
Yeah, this is a bigger story, I think, than Square accepting Bitcoin, because this is a direction in which we get true mass adoption. Utilizing the rails of blockchain technology, applying that to the traditional financial markets, that's where I think this is all heading as a big picture. I don't think retail people will be buying stuff with Bitcoin. It's just not realistic. It doesn't make sense. Maybe buying stuff with, certainly buying stuff with stable coins. Let's make that a thing. But let's do it through your Visa, right? Imagine a world where I can decide to pay with stable coins using my Visa and not have to pay any fees to Visa, right? Every time you do a swipe with that credit card, Visa's getting paid. And that's why when you go down to the corner store to buy your whatever and you see, oh, we're charged extra 5% if you do credit card. It's because they're getting hit. They're getting hit, you're getting hit, Visa's getting rich. Let's find ways to reduce the fees by utilizing blockchain technology. Let's get TradFi integrated with DeFi. And that's the future, guys. That's the future where all this stuff is going. So I applaud this. I applaud Visa. Let's continue to see this kind of adoption.
I want to applaud the almost 150 people that are tuned in to Crypto Paradise's live stream right now. You guys are pretty hardcore. Shout out to you guys. Markets like this, when everybody's bearish, when they're the crypto doldrums, whatever you want to call them, typically that's when people clock out, sign off, stop paying attention, and miss out on the alpha that's going to get them the big gains when the markets start to pump again. So shout out to the 150 people that are watching right now. You guys are the real ones. You guys are the ones that are going to be rewarded as markets start to come back, because you haven't given up. You haven't cashed it in and said, oh, well, I'm gone. I learned my lesson. I did that the very first time I heard about crypto back in 2018, and it cost me, who knows, countless millions. So glad
Dude,
to see you.
I feel you, man. That's honestly, I love doing these live streams too with you guys, and obviously everyone who's watching, we appreciate you as well so much. But it's sort of like when I'm on these live streams and we're talking about the markets, it kind of forces me to like analyze things, take a step back, maybe think a little bit less emotionally, and it's probably resulted in me holding a lot more than I maybe otherwise would have if it were not for these streams and talking to a guy like Nick, who's a great analyst, and talking to Nate, who's going over all these amazing macro stories, reminding us to stay bullish. Like, even for me, who's like long-term crypto, it helps me not sell. And I think at the lows, which I've done that in the past, we all have, and almost always regret it. So, yeah, glad to be doing these. I wondered, if you don't mind, Nate, shared a couple other stories in our group, talking about maybe some macro stuff around Bitcoin and stuff like that. I think the ETF story I thought was interesting. Yeah, this one, yeah, hell yeah. This guy, by the way, Eric Balknas, you guys got to follow this guy. He gets all the inside information on ETFs. Like, he knows before the ETF is going to get approved. He knows that the staking was going to get approved. I mean, you got to follow this guy if you're curious about like Wall Street ETFs, etc. But 98%, 0.5% are holding from the ETF buyers. So when everyone's like, ETF selling, BlackRock selling, oh, panic, oh, causing you to second guess everything and question the adoption of this asset class, 98.5% are holding. Enough said. What say you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about earlier. The type of investors who are getting into ETFs, usually it's not even the individual themselves. It's their financial advisor, their BlackRock person, their JP Morgan, Fidelity, whoever, saying, hey, we're going to start taking 1 to 5% of your portfolio, and we're going to put it into Bitcoin or Ethereum spot ETFs as a diversifier or as a hedge. Now, obviously, they're doing that because they believe in the upside. They're trying to, it's a new product, so they get paid commissions on that, blah, blah, blah. But also mathematically, it makes a lot of sense for the portfolio. And once that happens, until that financial advisor tells them to reallocate, 99 out of 100 times, it's sitting there because the only way it gets reallocated is if that person comes out to their advisor and says, no, fuck you, I'm going to take my money and leave if we don't, de-risk and we sell the Bitcoin exposure and get back in bonds or whatever. So that is the nature of the beast. That's what happens. Remember, not many people are actually financially literate and actually manage their own investments. You either have the lower end spectrum, the blue collar workers, or the new white collar workers who just have auto investments in their 401k, and their company usually puts it into a 401k plan, which finds its way into an indice. Or you have the super wealthy who has enough money and is too busy and they're not managing their finances either. They pay somebody else to do that, and that's the financial advisor. And then you have the people like us who are in between and actually manage your own stuff, and you know what's in your portfolio and you know the daily gains. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, I don't know. Sometimes it's a little stressful, but that's the nature of the beast, and that's why these ETF inflows and outflows, why 98.5% are holding, is because that is what is happening. It's either an auto delegation or their financial advisor putting them in it for the long term, because BlackRock, their higher ups, are telling them this is the new standard portfolio, this is where we're getting commissions, and this is where the algorithm and the numbers say we're going to get upside profits and where we need exposure.
Yeah, I mean, most of these guys, like you said, they're not looking at the charts every day. My dad, he does his own investing, not entirely, but he does a good portion of his own portfolio himself, and he's got Bitcoin. Most of the time when he gets his update on Bitcoin prices, when we do our bi-monthly Skype, he's, oh yeah, what's the price of Bitcoin now? Like, he's not paying attention to it, So yeah, I mean, the people that are a part of these ETFs aren't on their daily buy sell. These are long-term holders. These are 401ks. These are pension funds, things of that nature. Yes, they do some rebalancing here and there, but for the most part, we expect to see this continue up and to the right, which is why everybody was so bullish about ETFs in the first place. Markets are down a little bit. It's a slow news week. People are just bitching, trying to make some noise.
You know what's funny too? I bet you that by the end of this cycle, or let's say 2 cycles from now, your dad, who never checks the price of Bitcoin, doesn't obsess over it, he will have outperformed 90% of crypto degens who are trying to trade and moving in and out of stuff every day, second guessing the market. Like, your dad, given it a long enough time frame, who never checks Bitcoin, will actually outperform most people. I promise you that. And it's the same goes for these ETF buyers too, by the way. So sometimes, honestly, just buying and holding and not paying attention is the wisest thing to do. If you're talking Bitcoin, look, if you're in alts, if you're like our boy Rema, who's obviously, sophisticated crypto investor, buy mid caps at these levels for longer term, risk reward can't get any better, easy invalidations. Yeah, I mean, if the cycle remains true, Bitcoin's eventually going to run here, ETH, and then it's going to cycle down into the mid caps, which will absolutely run. The strong ones will do very well, will outperform, and then ultimately will move into the low cap. So if you're thinking a few chess moves ahead, maybe it does make sense to move in some of your favorite mid caps. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of mid caps myself, but I'm sure you're going to do well with that strategy. So it won't be easy, because I think there may be some more pain ahead these next few weeks, but I think that could actually turn out very well for you there, Remus. So appreciate you jumping in with that comment there.
Crypto Armor, I think it might be your mic. It sounds like water's running or something over there.
Yeah, that's my ear. Yeah, it's just making some noise there. Sorry about that.
Got a little feedback on the mic there. All right, I think you sent through one other story here.
Before we get to that, Richard Hart did just make this tweet, and I don't even know what it means. So I don't know. He looks like he's shilling some kind of new bridge. This site looks cool. Gas.zip. I think you can gas up multiple chains at once. Let me know. Again, don't know. Also, I don't even know why now, with everything that you're doing, why you're even promoting a bridge. Also, the best performing asset as of late on your chain is the bridge, Liberty Swap, and their Peacock token. So again, it just seems like you're kind of footing one of your best assets on your chain as well. Again, maybe this is just at a glance, so I don't really know what he's even talking about here. But why are we talking about a bridge here when you got all the drama with ProveX, when you got the drama with maybe you're going live, and then your best runner off the lows here from September 21st up to, just a week ago was Peacock and Liberty Swap, which is a really good bridge. So, again, I think misappropriation of shilling when he should be focusing on different products.
I'll tell you what, I love when my founders are active and on social media. We're active, we're on social media. Who am I to throw stones at a glass house? But you don't want them too active. You don't want them drinking 5 cups of coffee and then just spout at the mouth all day, and half the tweets end up being construed negatively. Like, you need a founder who, yes, they're active, they're on socials, but a little bit of discernment, a little bit of, should I press the post button here, or is this not a wise decision? Like, a little bit of introspection there would be very appreciated from Richard Hart. So, yeah, bud, focus on one thing at a time. Don't, do your sacrifice, prove that you're showing that, and then literally amidst that, start talking about another thing. Like, again, who are these guys? Maybe we should become his advisors or something. He's got to get someone around him talking his ear.
I need to see proof of life at this point. Hopefully the live show and the video comes out.
No, it's definitely him, dude. This is
I know.
definitely,
I'm
this
just
is
saying that as tongue in
him.
cheek. I said that as a joke last night and said, hey, he's either dead or this is the low you want to buy. And, somebody in my group was giving me shit like, yo, you're saying he's dead, you scammer. I'm like, oh, my God, it's just a fucking joke. I even said I think it's the latter, and you probably need to buy the fucking capitulation. People are sensitive. I get it. It's not fun for anybody, but if you can't laugh at the red candles, you're going to end up doing something silly, and you're going to live in your own misery. That's all I can say.
Happy to laugh at the red candles, absolutely. I do want to just circle back because Rema's out here engaging on the live stream. We appreciate you and everyone else doing that. Yeah, we've talked about the correlation between gold and Bitcoin and the 90-day lag. So is it 80 days or 90 days? Because I thought, for some reason, it was 80.
60. I always say 80 because that's happened more often than not, but really it's like 60 to 90. I mean, obviously, remember, gold's been around for a very long time. Bitcoin's been around now for over a decade. So, that's going to be a variable range. But I always just quote 80. So,
80, 90, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, we should be moving here soon if that correlation remains intact, which I think it will, at least to some degree. I don't know if we start, running past all-time highs in the next, 2 weeks, but I think in, bit of a recovery here to correspond with the reopening of the government, forward looking to the rate cut, the gold correlation. I think we're probably going to continue to trend up, slow grind up. But I don't know if we break past the previous all-time high up until, who knows, December, January even, to correspond with QE. That's my theory. I could end up being totally wrong. Honestly, just hold. Be like the ETF buyers. Be like the ETF buyers. They ain't worried about this, that, the other macro thing. They're not obsessing over charts. They're just buying, holding Bitcoin, living their lives. Going to look at it in a couple of years from now and go, wow, look, Bitcoin outperformed everything in my portfolio. What a surprise.
Nate, when's Bitcoin going to zero?
It's going to zero. It's going to zero with 6 other zeros and a 1 in front of it.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay. Oh.
Yeah, when the asteroid hits planet Earth, that's when it'll go to zero, and we all die, and everything else will be good zero. So, yeah, Bitcoin's in a good spot. I know everyone's bearish and feeling the max pain, the max fear, but I'm telling you, that's when things reverse. That's what it's always when everyone's super bullish and risk on and greed and et cetera, it's going to the moon. That's when you should be scared. That's when the crash is coming. Now we're at the opposite end of that. It's at the bottom. It's at the max pain. It's it's going to zero. That's when it reverses. So look, it's a story as old as time. You look at any chart, go on X. Everyone's posting these things, and that's kind of what gives me encouragement, honestly. Like, and maybe it's just my feed, but I'm not seeing as much bear posting anymore. It feels like people sort of come around to this notion of we're towards the tail end of this max pain, and we're in for a reversal here soon. So hold on. I'm seeing a lot of that out there. Maybe not if you're in Pulsechain, though. If your feed is dominated with Pulsechain stuff.
I'm scrolling Dex tools now, and it's just like, man, BSC in the shitter. Pulsechain in the shitter. Solana trenches in the shitter. It's just like everything in the shitter. Ethereum trenches in the shitter. It's just like, wow. Pengu down 43% from our last sell just 3 weeks ago after the liquidity crisis. Yikes.
But again, these are the times when you see the reversals.
Oh yeah, I mean, some point, yeah, for sure. That's why Pengu, we're 43% down after a profit sell. So I mean, some point there, that goes to what Rema was saying, mid cap opportunity. We were just, that would take a 60% rally or something like that for Pengu to even get where we sold it last. 77% rally. That looks like pretty good gain opportunity there. So your risk to reward ratio on these things, unless you think crypto is over, the bull market's over, everything's heading to zero. I mean, you at some point down here, your risk to reward ratio, if you have fresh capital or cash from profits, starts to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think we're going to end up being fine here, folks. It's been a long, hard road. Man, a lot of people have been washed out, haven't they? A lot of people left. A lot of projects, a lot of founders, a lot of influencers, a lot of community members, a lot of retail. They're all gone. And yeah, October. What happened in October? What happened to Moonvember? Well, look, we still have over 2 weeks left here in Moonvember, and I think
November could flip pretty. I'll pull this up and I'll let you continue. But I haven't looked at this in a few days, and it's actually not very far off. November's only down 4%. A 4% rally in Bitcoin, puts you to like 110,000. It's like that ain't much.
Yeah, no, I think Moonvember's still in the cards for us. Not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but still definitely in the cards. So let's see how these things play out, guys. I mean, it's not going to go down forever. It's not going to zero. We're going to end up being fine. It's just living through these moments is never easy. It's never easy. But that's why we join these live streams. Talk it out. Figure out what's coming, what's bullish, why you should hold. By the way, I'll just touch on one thing real quick. I meant to write to this in the DAO yesterday, so I'll just say it here. We actually spoke with Backstage, the Backstage project, yesterday, and they're looking to start getting a lot more active. I think part of the strategy was sort of just to let some of the weekends out, after the launch, nothing wrong with that, and then start pushing things. They do have some catalysts coming up. I think the most notable one here in the near term is they will be hosting a big event at Davos. Right, Davos, Switzerland is where all the big financial players come together, and it's essentially a huge conference of all the billionaires, etc. Crypto is well represented last year and this year even more so. And Backstage, as I understand it, is hosting some of the biggest parties and events. That's kind of their bread and butter, as I understand it. Crypto-related events, or at least that's one of their revenue-generating opportunities. So they'll be flying over into Davos, hosting some parties. The revenue there is going to be flowing back into the profits, flowing back into the Backstage token. So if you invest in the Backstage pre-sale, talking about risk reward, I'm going to be holding. Look, no financial advice. Do what you want. I'm going to be holding my allocation. I'm not selling here. It feels like they're about to start reversing things and getting a lot more active.
Yeah, it does sound like, they're going to start injecting some capital and getting some profits, and we should probably get back up to public sale round prices by probably the end of this week or early next week, which would be like a 2 or 2.5x from here. So maybe that's something for traders you want to get involved with. Again, no guarantees. For pre-salers, if you didn't sell your tokens already for that 2x, I think you'll be back to that price point, and then you can accelerate higher from there. They also launched in what hasn't been very good market conditions. Ethereum is down about $700 since their launch, so that doesn't help either. But again, I was surprised it got this low because now it's like even slightly below the private sale round after being up about 2.5x, 3x over the private sale round. But yeah.
Hold on. Breaking news on
There we
BTC. Up 300% on Kraken as we speak. So is that the Paradise Pump? I don't know. But happy to see that, happy to hear that, and then hopefully we should be in profits now on our pre-sale.
Oh, well, yeah, it did just do a 300% gainer, and now we are up on the pre-sale about 25 or 30%, and you're only another, 2x, less than 2x away from public sale round and highs since the launch. So, like you said, it doesn't take much capital for that thing to do that. That's pretty ironic timing. I wish we would have got a post out yesterday after the call. But again, this is still right around the private sale levels right here, right now. So those of you who did not get in the pre-sale and you're looking for, hey, maybe a speculative play, you can go ahead and do that. Of course, liquidity is thinner, so you might not be able to get as much capital in as you want, like the private sale participants were able to do. Yeah, it does look like they're going to be pushing this thing back towards probably like 1.3, 1.5 cents by the end of this week. And then we'll see how this conference goes. And if they keep rolling their portion of the profits into BKS buybacks, it doesn't take much to send these things higher. Remember, all the tokens that were in weak hands are already out in circulation, and there's no new tokens hitting the market for another like 1.5 to 1.7 months from now.
Yeah, I wish you guys could have been on that call with us. I mean, both founders, we've now spoken with both founders at this point. Both struck me as very serious, intelligent, savvy crypto investors, and also savvy and intelligent business owners, right? They know their industry. They know how to run a successful business in the events and entertainment world. So, yeah, I continue to remain bullish on it. Obviously, the post-launch performance was not what we had hoped for. But, for me, it was always a longer-term hold. Sometimes the vesting is a blessing in disguise. I think it's 8-month vesting. Hopefully by, months 2, 3, 4, we're well into like an alt season. Bitcoin, Ethereum should be ripping and roaring by then within the next few months would be my expectation. And then high quality alts that are undervalued listed on top tier exchanges like BKS listed on Kraken. I mean, that should be above a 7 million FDV in a $150,000 market cap, which is where it's at now. So my thesis remains intact in my own mind. Let's see if it plays out like that. Obviously, there's always risk to these things not playing out as you expect. But yeah, impressive call with the founder yesterday. Glad to be able to report that to you guys. And for anyone who got into pre-sale, I think it's going to be doing well for us.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. You got, I know we keep circling back to this, but he keeps being active. Updated numbers are out. CoinMarketCap put the eyes out 44 minutes ago. Richard Hart just replied, that 500K impressed you, ? There's now $500,000 has been sacrificed to the ProveX. Here's what's interesting. So many people are hating on it. Like, it's crazy. I almost want to sacrifice in the first round for ProveX. I probably will wait until the final deadline to get more information, which is December 3rd. But just in case bag might be in order. But I do not agree with everything that is going on over there. And, what can save the morale of Pulsechain if he truly does get live here in the next 1 or 2 days? Again, I don't know if he'll even get live, but even a recording of him talking, showing his face like the one pinned on his Twitter feed here, might bring some life and some explanation to the decisions that he is making. But this guy's out here replying to the biggest names in the space, doing what we're doing with Crypto Paradise, trying to expand his reach by being the reply guy over on Twitter.
Yeah, I love that. Look, good. Be active. I mean, that's great. Like you want your founder to be active on socials, but there is such a thing as too active. There is such a thing as like not thinking before you tweet, and that's what I just want to see. That reined in a little bit. But hey, look, like anything, you take the good with the bad. You take the good with the bad. So if you like Richard Hart because he's active and he's out there and he's a personal guy or whatever the case may be, well, then the flip side of that is maybe sometimes he's a little bit over the top. I don't know. But look, I'm going to continue to hold PLS. My PLSX, obviously my surf, not selling any of that. So, long-term bull. I'm remaining hopeful over the long term, but you just hate to see decisions that I thought could have been avoided thought could have been avoided. But look, we'll hopefully hear from him soon on live stream, and he'll probably explain himself, and he'll probably calm some fears, and he'll probably explain it in a way that, oh, okay, I guess I see the logic behind that. I still don't love the decision, but I'm okay with it now because he explained it in such a way that's convinced me that it's fine. And we'll forget about this, and price will probably recover to at least to where it was at like 2 days ago. I think it's oversold right now. It'll probably get back to where it was at in a couple days from now if he does the right thing, live streams, and explains his thought process here.
Yeah, I guess talking about Surf, do you want to talk about Surf at all, Nate, Crypto Amaru? I mean, myself, I'll just say...
I got to wrap up here pretty quick if you guys want to keep rolling.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up, too. We're about an hour. But you can hop out of here if you want, or if you want to say anything about Surf. But, Crypto Paradise as a brand continues to buy and burn Surf, does not have any Surf that is selling on the market ever, never will. It's just going to burn into our edit to LPs. Our personal holdings, we continue to buy Surf. We have a policy where a percentage of the revenue that is earned from Crypto Paradise or that we take home, we are going and buying and holding Surf based off of that. So that's what's going to continue to happen. Of course, Surf price is down as alt season has not happened, proliferated on any network, and now gets dragged down with the downturn in the blue chips over on Pulsechain as well. But just so you guys know, we are spending our own funds, not making funds off of Surf token, and we'll continue to do so both with Crypto Paradise and any revenue that we get to our own wallets.
Yeah, for sure. No, goes without saying. We got to do a buyback here soon with some of the DeFi yield we've earned. Thank you for reminding me of that. But we're in a good spot. I mean, obviously the price of the token is down due to market conditions, alt season capitulation. I mean, everything's down, down, down. Obviously, what happened yesterday with Pulsechain cores hurts as well. But no, the business remains the same. The upside potential remains the same. We haven't sold any tokens. I actually, when I saw the price this morning, because I was asleep when all the madness went down yesterday on Pulsechain as a whole, but I woke up and saw that Surf was down, and I was like, oh, maybe a DAO member left the DAO. So I checked. Nope, still got 93 people in there. They all hold 200,000 or more Surf. The holder count continues to go up. We're over 1,000 holders now. I mean, so outside of the near-term price performance, I'm pretty pleased with everything. DAO wallet should be gaining some more capital here as the transactions continue to buy and burn and buy and return PLS to the DAO wallet. So we're in a good spot. I mean, I know it sucks, the price is down, all that stuff, but for me, the conviction remains the same, and we're in a good spot despite market conditions.
Go ahead, Nate, so you can wrap it up and you can get out of here.
I'm just saying, if you have conviction the market's going to be back at 26, patience is the option.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We've said this a lot. Obviously, excluding this waterfall that Richard Hart spurred on Pulsechain. If Ethereum was 3x all-time highs and Pulsechain was in the shitter, I'd be nervous. If Ethereum was 3x all-time highs and none of our other alts were doing anything, I'd be nervous or have a different tune. If Pulsechain was up 10x and Surf was down like it was, I'd be telling you we're doing something wrong. But you can't swim up the current. You can even see that with Peacock. Off the lows, had a big rip and roar. We made a profitable trade for you guys on that, and that sold off as well with Pulsechain because due to liquidity bonding, that's the nature of the beast. You're going to go up and down with those network tokens. All coins don't have alt seasons without Ethereum going up due to the same reasons, liquidity bonding. It's all about liquidity, volume, and LP pools, and that is what we're seeing here in the markets. So, if any of those factors switch, then you can change up your perspective or look elsewhere, whatever. But right now, that's just not the case. There isn't one thing ripping and roaring, and you're looking here like, well, why is this dumping? Or why is this altcoin not doing that? Nothing's doing well, so yours isn't an outlier. You're just in line with the market.
Nothing's doing well. Max pain, max fear. That's when the reversal hits, and maybe it's going to hit now here sooner than we thought because looks like Secretary Treasury Scott Benson has come out and said something to the effect of, yeah, this $2,000 stimulus checks are a thing. He had kind of thrown hot water on it a few days ago and was like, oh, maybe it's just going to be a tax rebate, or maybe, we'll give it to you in a different way. Looks like now he's coming out and saying, no, rebate checks, or stimulus checks, whatever you want to call that, incoming at some point. So let's see if that happens. If it does, I think we're in for a tremendous alt season. Who remembers what happens when they sent out checks last time? Anyone who has earning $100,000 or less is allegedly apparently getting these checks, according to Benson. So if that plays out, then yeah, you can expect a big alt season here when that does happen. So guys, just hang in here. Just hang in. I mean, look, you've held on this long. It's been painful this long. What, you're going to capitulate now? I Moon or dust, baby. Moon or dust.
All right. It's a good place to wrap it up, gents.
This guy's tired. This guy needs his baby sleep. His little baby rest.
That's right. I'll let you guys keep rocking and roll if you want. But,
Shoot, I'm tired and it's like 10 a.m. It's like 10 p.m. for him.
It's 11 p.m.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm asleep by 10 p.m. too. So, all good. Great stuff today, guys. We'll be back with another live stream tomorrow. And until then, we will see you on the beach.